Live. Let me set this up a little better. All right, so double camera situation going on. So you're just gonna have to believe that I have this piano over here to my left. As you can hear it, let me know how the sound is. I'm working on being able to get sound straight out of this interface into my phone and be able to do the streams that way, like do the mic in one channel and the instruments in another channel, and be able to do it that way. But that's not the situation today because I'm still missing a few cables that I need. So let me join you guys over here in the chat. Looks pretty good. All right, so I think the first thing that we're gonna make sure is that we are getting sound out of the piano. So I have the piano plugged into the interface, and then I have the out of the SP also plugged into a different channel. And on the in, I'm sending it from the headphone jack. So it's like a stereo out into the left, which I think that might turn it to mono. I'm not really very technical with the whole mono, stereo, all that stuff. But yeah, so out of the headphone jack into here. So what happens with this setup is that if you have both of them up at the same time, it's going to be two signals like fighting against each other, and you're going to get like a peak, you know, like giant terrible noise that's going to make you deaf. You don't want that. So in order to be able to sample the piano from the interface, we need to turn the volume down on either the SP or on the headphone jack. So like when I'm recording, I need the volume up on the headphone jack. So for example, nothing's happening here, right? Now that external source is on, we can see here in the SP very faintly because of the light in my room that it's turning blue when I hit my notes. And if the volume was too high on the piano, what would happen is that the SP-404 would peak, which means that this little light right here would be more red than it is right now. And we don't want that. So like if for some reason you just got your SP and your noise is, and your sound is sounding like, you know, like distorted or crackly, and this is lighting up, it's because you have the gain on your instrument, whatever you're recording into the SP-404, be it your phone or a piano or whatever, you have that too loud. So you need to turn that volume down a bit if this is lighting up and this screen is turning red. So you want to find that sweet spot. You don't want it too low. You want like a good blue. All right. Good morning, guys. Get an iRig too. I mean, I have this super nice fancy interface. I'm just gonna work with this. I'm sure it's gonna work fine once I have it running, but we work with what we got right now. All right. So welcome. Thank you for joining, guys. Good morning. Good morning. I know, like, I've been doing a lot of modular videos. And I'm sorry you can't see my beautiful face right now, because we only have one camera. But just believe I'm here. So I've been doing a lot of modular stuff, and I mean, I love all types of music. SP is bae, always. Modular is very relaxing and very different. I really want to sample some more stuff from the modular and bring onto here. But today we're going to be working with the SP and my piano that I have over here to the left. Turn my volume up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let people join the chat, and I'm going to play some piano. Try to find something because I don't really have anything prepared. I'm just going to play some piano, get inspired for a bit. You guys grab a cup of coffee. It's going to be a good one. Or some tea. Just going to play some piano, see what we come up with, and then we're going to record into the 404. So let's do that. effects. I'm using the CP-88 for any of those that are wondering. It is the Yamaha new, kind of like a synth piano, like it's not per function. So let's add a little more tremolo to that piano. A little drive. A little phaser, or a little chorus, I mean. Phaser now. Maybe not. Here's what I can do. I like that. Alright, so we got some good stuff there. So I think it's time to record. The first thing that I like to do on the SP-404 is to set, I think it's called, I don't know what it's called. What's it called when, threshold. Which means that it's not going to start recording right away. So like, for example, if I press record, these are all my empty pads. If I press record now and I press record, it's recorded right away. So now I have all that empty space until I start recording, right? And that's not what I want to do. I want the SP to know, like, to figure out when sound is being sent to it. So like, I'm gonna press function and 4, pad 4, and then I'm gonna set that to 3, which I think is a good number. And now, if I press record and pad, it's gonna say ready, which means that it's waiting for a signal. So now if I play, now it's gonna record, and now that pad's gonna be perfect, but it's very, very low because the volume's down. We'll fix that later. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. So now we can record. Sip of the tea. All right. Little sloppy, but that's okay. That's what lo-fi is, right? Okay, so now we're gonna turn the volume down on the input, and I am going to turn the SP4 up. And I'm gonna press hold so it holds it, right? Almost a perfect loop, but we did get that pop at the end. But I don't want to loop. That's not what I'm trying to do. So the beauty about the SP-404 is that you can make music on it in so many different ways. Some of those very Asian-y tracks that I've been making those on the machine. and then sampling them into the 404. So like for example, I would play the beat on a machine live, sample it into the 404 as sections. So like I'll play a live section, that's one pad. Record another section, that's another pad. Record a section without drums, that's another pad. So that's one of the ways that I've been working with the 404. Another way is making samples directly on the 404, which is what we're going to do today. That way is a lot more sloppy, I would like to refer to it. It's not as organized, but it's a lot of fun because you know you don't need the computer at all and you're just focusing on one machine, so that can be fun. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to beef up this sample by resampling it. So I'm going to turn this into a gate. So the SP-404 has three ways actually, that it handles our samples. So the gate means that you press it, it's only gonna play as long as it's being pressed. So if I have loop on, it's gonna loop my sample, but we already know that it's not a perfect loop, so that's not gonna work out that well. And then the third way is when nothing is lit, it just plays all the way, keeps playing and replaying and replaying until the sample ends. So if that's happening, that's what's going on. Okay. All right. So let's add some effect 16. A little bit of that flutter. All right. I'm going to record, so I'm going to resample this pad onto another pad. To do that, I'm going to press resample, record, my effects is on, record that, and here we go. My bad, guys, something with you. Glad that did not interrupt us for too long. So let's do that again. Delete that. So we'll be right where we left off. So I think I like it like that a little more. So resample. I don't want it that noisy. Let's do that one more time. All right. All right. So now we have our pad with that effect. And you can do this as many times as you want, okay? So like, let's say we want to do that on our whole pad. Same thing, resample, boom, boom. You get the idea. But I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't want to muddy it up too much. Awesome. All right, so now we don't really need this one. I'm going to like clear as much real estate as possible for the samples that we're gonna chop. And I like to keep my pads organized. Like I like them to be like, if I'm gonna chop, I don't want to chop here, you know, wherever empty spots are. I like to start with an empty project. So you saw that that project is pretty empty because we're gonna fill most of these up, if not all of them. All right, so this is my main sample. I want to change that to pad 1. So you can't see like the actual menus because of all the stickers that I have. But first one is copy and the second one is exchange. The other ones, they're like settings. I don't really need to get into those. So I'm going to press function, exchange this pad for this pad. Record means done. Now here's my first pad. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna start chopping up the sample. So I'm gonna make a duplicate of this sample by doing copy, function copy, pad 1 to pad 2, record. It's taking a minute because it was kind of a semi-long sample, right? Let's go ahead and do that to pad, let's do it like 4 times. Alright, so now we have the same sample on 4 pads. So I like to keep my first one original, you know, like as the original sample, and then we're going to start doing our crazy stuff over here. So I could start the sample off like this, or the song. I like it like there, right there, so. Alright, so what you just saw me do is press this marker. What this does is it puts a transient where we want the sample to play. So it's not like it's deleted everything, like we haven't destroyed the sample yet, but if you want to, like, you know, save room on your SP-404 and for it to move faster and stuff, to not be dealing with big samples, once you have it set, you can delete this marker by pressing delete marker delete. But I don't want to do that until we realize that everything's perfect how we want it. So, wow, that was super smooth. All right, so that's perfect. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and delete that. Delete, mark, delete. So now we have 2 different samples. Let's do the third one. So we go. So let's go ahead and copy some more. So now we're like figuring out how we're gonna do our chops, right? Let's do one more. for now. So you see that's a little late. What I need to do there is on this pad, on the start level, change that. Go back to the left, do it again. There we go. I want that back at the end. So copy. All right. Okay, so that's what we did. So I want it right at the start. All right, so we pretty much got our sample chopped up how we want it. Now we can start playing it differently. But first, let's add some drums on here. So I like to leave these last four for drums. I have a whole bank that I like to dedicate to drums. So like on this bank, whoa, very loud. Let's turn some of those down. To do that, compared to our sample at least, to do that, I'm going to go back to start, and the last one is the volume. So, okay. Whoa, sorry guys. Cover your ears for that hat. Okay. All right. So now, where were we? Which pad were we on? Here we go. We are on G. So I'm going to copy these last three. Function, whoops, cancel. Function copy, which is pad 1. Copy that onto G over here. Record. Back over here. Function copy, snare, to G. Record. Back to E. Function copy, hat, G, record. All right, so now we're back on G. That's one way of doing it. As you can see, or as you can hear, it doesn't sound as like, how do I say it, like sidechained. if it would if you were doing the different paths. So like, for example, do you get what I'm saying? So that's why it's important to chop up your sample. A lot of people that are like just now getting into sampling think that you're just gonna load, you know, a long sample and play drums over it, and you can. Your timing has to be, you know, you have to practice it. It's not just gonna happen. Timing is something that you have to practice. The more you do it, the better you get at it. I'm not the greatest at timing. But you know, that's why we practice. Okay, so let's talk about like the big elephant in the room, which is the biggest, like, how do I say this? The worst thing about the SP-404, or like the biggest flaw of the SP-404 compared to the SP-303, which is, you know, a version before this, right? The SP-404, its biggest problem, biggest flaw, is that you can't record while something is playing. So let's say, for example, I have a drum loop going, or let's say I have this loop going, right, and I want to record, my sample stops. So it's not like I can do that. It's not like we can record this without, you know, like we can't record the drums separately from this. We can record everything we just did into, like, we can resample it. For example, I'm gonna just do it for example. So we can do this. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Right? You get what I'm saying? That's one way of doing it, but how amazing would it be if we could actually hear what is being recorded while something, you know, while a pad is playing? I feel like that's one of the biggest flaws. You kind of have to like work around it. That's one way of doing it. I'm gonna show you guys another way that I like to do it, which is recording my chops and then doing the drums live. So let's figure out what we're gonna do with the chops. Good morning everybody that's just now joining. Decided to do a little different today. You know, we gotta switch it up. I'm still hoping to cop that OP1 whenever I get some extra cash, do some videos on that. But I know like my SP-404 and my lo-fi people, you know, they've been like, yo, when are you gonna do these streams? So here I am. Alright, so for those of you that are just now tuning in, we got a sample chopped up. Nothing there. And we have 3 drums. I need to get like an open hat that I can load because I don't have any open hats on here. Yeah. Okay, so now let's figure out how we want to chop this up even further, you know, because like the melody's nice, but we can do more with it. So let's figure that out. So that can be one thing. like that. Okay, so. Okay, so we can start it like. You want to make sure you practice as much as possible. I feel like one of the biggest mistakes that you can do is to rush to record, because then if you mess up, you're deleting, re-recording, deleting, re-recording. So I do like to take my time with what it is that I'm going to perform before I record. So I'm just taking you guys through the whole process. Grab a cup of tea. All right. Now we have our chops on a separate pad. I'm sorry I didn't walk you guys through that. Yeah, but you saw what I did. I resampled what I was just chopping. And you see, like, our pads, they were empty. Now all our pads are full. We have one more space left, empty space. So now it's a lot easier to do our drums and not have to worry about polyphony. Because, like, another thing is that the SP-404 doesn't have a lot of polyphony. So let's say if I am playing those drums like we were this way. So... right? If I press, like if I accidentally hold this one too long and press it, look what's gonna happen. Like if I press too many pads, of course it won't happen now that I'm doing it, right? If you press too many pads while you're recording, I'm sorry, no, not while you're playing. So if we're resampling for example. Like they'll start to cut each other off. You see they're not lighting up, right? Bad example. I'm sorry. But you get what I'm saying. Like there's a polyphony restriction. So like you can only play so many pads at the same time doing it that way. So the best workaround that I found was to do it this way. So now I have that like that. I like it as a gate, so I can go. You see what I'm saying? All right. Now let's go ahead and do a second part to that. Let's see what we come up with. I like that. All right. Resample. Here we go. A little too sloppy. Let's do that again. And you see how I like to extend that? Like I'm not looking to make a perfect loop because then I will be here all day. So once I want the beat to restart, I just let go of the pad and press it again. So all right, got a little lost there in the beat making. Hello to those that are just now joining. Thank you, thank you. All right, so now, and you see that I enjoy, I mean, yes, planning it ahead is fun, but when you're doing it live, like you come up with so many more things that you would if it's pre-planned out like that, you know? Like in my head I was already hearing like some other chops that I would have done instead of what was on here. So what we're gonna do, that was just one way of doing it. I wanted to show you guys that like that's a possibility, to chop up your samples and then play drums on it that way while you get better at transitioning. Get what I'm saying? All right. So let's go ahead and delete those. So we're still working on just one group or bank. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to resample everything. So pretty much record our song, right? And then once our song is recorded, then we can do all the fancy DJ effects loops, all that other stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. The thing about using the resample method, like you could use the sequencer. I've used it a few times. I've been trying to get more into it, but I feel like it's more like rearranging and like figuring out the tempo, the beep beep beep. Like I'm not trying to do all that. My workflow with the 404 is pretty set, pretty straightforward. No need to switch it up for me. So yeah. So we're going to resample this beat, but the thing with the resample method, and watch the whole polyphony thing. Watch, it's gonna happen now that I'm about to record, because that's just the way life is, right? Hopefully not, because if that happens, then we have to start all over. So like, little flaws that the SP-404 has, but it's still an amazing machine. So yeah, let's just see what we come up with. Let's do it. I feel like all these chops are kind of sloppy. Let's do that again. All right. Let's plan it out first. I don't want to rush it. I don't want you guys to feel like I'm rushing this. Let me not rush the creative process. Cause I wouldn't, like I said earlier, I would have practiced that a lot before recording it. But because we're live and trying to get stuff done. Yeah. All right. So let's play it first. See what we come up with, and then we're gonna record, okay? So I do like this little, but I don't think we should start off right on that. So maybe we should start like, Sounds a little better, doesn't it? Than just random chops. Okay, so I think we can start it off like this, so. Something like that. Let's do it. Alright, something like that, right? Can't be perfect, especially not live. But I feel like, you know, we're doing it. It's sounding good, right? Hello guys, welcome everyone in the chat. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're enjoying it. I hope it's going good. I hope you're keeping up with what's going on here. Okay, so sorry if I'm moving a little too fast for you. If you're just not joining, we pretty much just got all our beat done. That would have ended perfectly, but it automatically saves as a loop. If I would have pressed loop, that would have been a beautiful ending. Yeah. So yeah, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something today. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get my hands on an OP1 once again, but that might take a while because I'm gonna invest in a new laptop first, so we can do these machine videos and sample into the SP-404 and do all that fun stuff. But sampling is a lot of fun. Sampling on just the SP-404 is a lot of fun. Yeah, that's amazing. And then we can also record everything that we just did onto a separate pad. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and end the video with doing that. And then that way, here's a little tip. So like, if you're using an SP-404, sometimes if you record straight out of the out into your DAW, it can be a little noisy, like you hear a very silent, high-pitched hum. A way to like, you know, get around that is instead of recording, like, you know, some people would have normally like recorded that performance straight into their DAW. What I like to do is I like to resample that. And then I have that on a separate pad, and then I pretty much have a whole song on that pad. All I have to do is take out the SD card, load it up to my computer, and then boom, I have a finished track made on the 404. I also like to keep that track that doesn't have any effects on it. So like, I mean, I thought that was a pretty decent track. I also like to keep that clean track on my 404, or like I actually like to make a separate folder in my computer of tracks that are not affected, you know, so like tracks with no effects. So then when I'm performing live, you know, like if I'm gonna do a show or something, I have that track to play, you know, like it's not destructed. So like, you can still use it and still do effects on it, because if I keep just that track that's already affected, like when I perform, what am I gonna do? Like I got nothing to do. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to resample. We are out of tea, means tea time is almost over. Last sip. Let's do this. Let me grab some water real quick though, because I'm dying. All right. Before we press record, there's a few things that I want to do with my effects. I want to make sure that they are where I want them to be. So all right, sounds about right. Okay. And I think I'm gonna start this song with the original sample and then bring this sample in. That's what I'm gonna do. So here we go. And there was that perfect ending. So now, here is the final result. Everything done. We don't have to do anything else to that to this track. Maybe, you know, smoothing it up a bit with our DAW and with some effects and stuff, but I think it's pretty much clean, straight to go. Sometimes I'll add like another layer of drums if I feel like the drums are too weak coming out of the 404. Rarely the case, but sometimes it does happen. But here we go. Here's our whole track with effects ready to go. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Damn it, Loop! Stop! Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what other kind of videos you guys want me to do. I know like it's so kind of like difficult with two different types of fan base, I guess, because I do like my ambient stuff and I do my hip hop stuff, and I'm not trying to like have two different artist names because I'm not doing all that. I'm making whatever type of music I want to make under my name. So it's been like hard, you know. I know the hip hop people get a little sleepy with the ambient. I know the ambient people get a little bored with the hip hop stuff. But I'm just gonna try to do, you know, overall, I'm not really like genre specific. So I'm just gonna keep making music with whatever I got, with whatever, you know, with however I make music. I'm gonna share it with you guys. If you like those type of videos, you know, stick around. If there's a video that you don't like, you know, skip tea time. That's okay. I won't be mad, but you should join. Alright guys, that's it. If you guys like what I do, consider checking out my Patreon where you guys can get like my samples, like all these fat drums. These are from my Fat Buddha Lo-Fi drum collection on my website. If you guys want to support, check out my merch, my sample packs, whatever. Help a sister out if you can. Not if you can't. I'll catch you guys in the next one and have a great rest